Hi everyone, welcome. I'm Jeanette. This is the Crafty Hobbit channel. I'm an artist and a rehab designer. In this video, I do have a new in the item shop to share, but I also want to share some unique techniques used for this design. This French Shabby Chic Keepsake box is designed with the reverse distressing process that I've shared in previous videos. And that's where you take the base of the piece, whatever it may be. Sometimes you just want to go flat black or navy blue or whatever your core color is going to be. And then you add your layers on top of it. Now, most people will distress and put the white paint or the chiffon paint over the entire piece and then go back through and try to rub off in spaces. And that's where you get that smooth distressed look. Well, it's much easier to build up than it is to take it back off. So that's what I call the reverse distressing technique, where you just take your base coat, whatever it is, the darker, if you're doing dark base, which is majority of distressing, and then you're going to dab on your colors onto that and cover it up, but leave it peeking through. You want to have at least 3 colors to work with so that you have the dimension and the fullness that you need in your color palette. So in this particular piece, I started out with an all black base, and then from that I worked up with the white, and then on top of that I added some French chiffon. Then on top of that, I added some very pale, very small areas of pink, very, very pale pink. And they're in such tiny flecks, you don't even notice them just looking at the whole piece. You really have to get up close and to notice them. And then I added some flecks of vintage gold throughout the piece as well in different spaces. So you see how many colors I've added to this, bringing the distressing up. That's that technique. I like that so much better. It's so much easier to build your piece out, and then you could just add the color where you feel you need it. And then next I want to talk about on this piece is the rough surface texturing. Now, a lot of people use plaster for that, and I don't really like to use it because it tends to get too thick or too thin or too powdery, just too many different things to worry about for my taste. So what I recommend you do, and what I use, is I use a very thick, heavy, chalky paint. You don't have to have chalk paint. You can have paint with thickener in it, such as talcum powder, like that. So you want to make it thick, almost as if it's drying up, and then you're going to take your brush and dab it on. Now, I started with the white. Now, obviously you have to use it with one of your paints that you're working with. So I used it with the white because that's the first surface color that I was bringing up my distressing with. You can also use pieces of very fine tissue paper. So you can use like really fine napkin, torn up into very, very tiny pieces, tissue paper torn up in very, very tiny pieces. And I haven't even tried colored tissue paper. I just use plain white, but most of my stuff has a white base anyway. Maybe I'll try that one day. Oh, that's a good idea. So anyway, you mix that in your paint, and you're going to dab that on. So for me, those are easier than using the plaster surfacing, trying to make it rough, because it's going to naturally just adhere to your piece in random places, and to me make it look more aesthetically pleasing and rough. And if you can see on this piece, the surface is very rough and chippy looking. Now, the distressed boxes, the checks, this is a new style. I think I'm going to be doing more of that because I really like the the faded out edges are so, I don't know. I really like it. So I'm going to be bringing more of this style into the shop. Vintage checked French country is what I call it. It reminds me of French country decor. And I do have a clock in the shop right now that's kind of French country, but it's not distressed out, but it would look beautiful with this box. Anyway, That's the techniques that I wanted to share in this video. I did make some small handmade fabric flowers. They're very easy to do. Maybe I'll do a video on that one day. And then my pinch bow is just, I mean, seconds. If you can pinch together fabric with 2 fingers, you can make a bow. Now I did add a few little embellishments on the inside, and you'll find that I try to keep it very small on the lid because you don't want that to compete with the contents that people are going to put in the piece itself. I do like to put felt protectors on the bottom of my pieces, a lot of them anyway, to just protect the tabletop and countertops from any damage from it being pushed and slid around. And the last thing I want to mention, I do like to use the ultra matte finish on these type of pieces that are distressed out. It just causes the colors to blend together more. If you use a glossy sealer to it, it's going to separate your colors and make them really pop. So I recommend, if you're doing distressed work, to use matte or ultra matte sealer. So those are the tips that I wanted to share with this, and this was a really fun piece to make. I'm excited to make more of this style because I really love this distressed box design, and it gives me that French country feel. If you want to see more new items as they're available in my shop, or maybe some tips or ideas on how to do your own pieces, or ideas for decorating, what you can look for, subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit the notification bell. Thank you so much for hanging with me on this one. I know it's a bit long, but I do appreciate you staying and watching to the end. And we will see you on the next one.